The Candy Witch is a 2020 independent horror movie about a shrill, dessert-obsessed old hag who menaces young people, which is exactly how I feel whenever I ask to sample a flavor at an ice cream store. Despite a relatively glossy look, this movie has a plot so thin and incoherent you would think it just escaped Jeffrey Dahmer's house, showing drawn-out, real-time sequences of boring everyday activities. If I'm watching a horror movie, I don't want to see an old lady making tea, okay? I want to see her old sagging skin sliding down a flagpole like it's sundown on Veterans Day. And that's my right. Sorry, Nana. But besides that, The Candy Witch has everything. A meandering plot, bizarre dialogue, and a supernatural witch with so little mystery that at some points you'll be like, oh, that kind of looks like my friend Kyle's mom. So let's watch our Candy Witch slash some victims with her giant plastic candy cane for a little added holiday flair. In another sweet installment of Clip Breakdown, mama. Hello, television viewers. My name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another scary installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where I take the scariest or most interesting movies, TV movies, YouTube videos, or other found media, and I break it along the pre-scored lines like a Toblerone so that we can look at each little triangle and say, that's stupid. I think it's stupid. Movies are dumb, and I love that. And today is no exception. We've got a horror movie from Tubi TV, one of my favorite sources for free entertainment. The amount of content they pump out on Tubi is insane, and all of it is like something that came out of the back of your throat. But before we get into it, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more clip breakdowns just like this. It really lets me know that it's working for you. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right down here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on those notifications and you'll always be in the know. And it's gonna be groovy. It's too early for me to be yelling. I woke up at 6 a.m. to shoot this video today. Why? Because I love myself. Also, you'll notice I'm wearing some aloe plant merch, and that's fun for you if you buy it. I could tell that this was gonna be an interesting movie as soon as those studio logos started playing at the beginning. Like, you can just tell this is gonna be an off-brand movie by the way these look. Why do even these logos seem like they come from a parallel universe where it's always wine o'clock? Was this movie made by the same people who decorated my mom's living room? Our scene starts with an old woman whose name we never learn. There's a lot of that going on in this movie as she gets ready for the night by preparing a warm cup of tea. And in case you were ever wondering how long that would take, it's 60 seconds in one long unbroken shot. Wow, we're really gunning for that Celestial Seasoning sponsorship, aren't we? You know, I really appreciate your full-length tutorial on making tea because I personally wasn't sure if that process was boring or not, and now I know. Thanks, Gardner. The director said, okay, everybody, let's roll on this first scene, and then we can all sit back and try to think about what's gonna happen in this movie. There should probably be a ghost. The first scare of the movie comes from a really derivative kind of concept that they stole from the movie Lights Out, where every time the light goes off, the witch becomes a little bit closer. And I'll warn you, this scene has a jump scare, but it's so confusing because she doesn't react like she's scared. She said, oh, I forgot about this light switch that summons Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Like, why does she not scream at all? Did a woman just scream in your face with ratty hair? Because that should be affecting you in a little bit more of a way. I would take note of that, ma'am. Also, you'll notice back there, she's holding a candy cane, because that's why she's the Candy Witch, everybody. Because she carries a giant plastic yard candy cane that you would get from the dollar store on Halloween. Why Halloween? Why wouldn't it be Christmas? What? Despite having just like been 6 inches away from a banshee, our main girl seems to forget about that and goes to the front door where someone has left a gift for her.
Willie.
Those maggots are like, why do you have to bring religion into this? We're just here for the chocolate tasting. Also, I don't even care about the Candy Witch anymore. I want to know more about Willie and her relationship. She opened that box and said, oh, Willie. Always putting a box within a box and then leaving it on my doorstep. It's never explained who Willie is, never explained who this woman is. You just kind of have to accept it. Also, I'm not sure what movie the maggot thing is stolen from, but it's like a lot of horror movies do this, where you look down and suddenly you've been eating maggots. Joke's on you. I love the taste of maggots. I'm trying to score all the free calories I can until I pay off my student loan. So you're helping me out, Candy Witch. Thanks. This scary scene is coming to a head, coming to a climax, if you will.
Who in God's name is messing with me?
I'm sorry, that scream went on for so long you could actually hear the actress getting out of costume at the end. She said, "Ah!" I have no idea what happened to her. Did she get murdered? Did she just stand face to face with that old woman and they talked about knitting? Also, you just clearly showed us the Candy Witch's face within the cold open, so you took all the fear out of this woman right off the bat. I'm no longer scared of her because I can see that she's just like some Italian woman in green face paint. That's just Halloween at my aunt's house. I'm not scared. After the titles, we jump over to our main character. His name is Reese, and his girlfriend Kat helps him out as a paranormal investigator. So we see them, they're at this guy's house whose wife recently died, and he goes up to her sewing room to try to connect and free this spirit who's been torturing this man. And it seems like when he gets like close to a ghost or whatever, his head starts to hurt. And of course, even the scene of him having a headache goes on for too long and might leave you with an actual headache. Even the ghost behind him is like, do you want me to turn down the lights in here? Are you maybe dehydrated? Like, you've got some migraine issues. If we're watching you for 30 seconds to rub your temples, I normally would speed up that clip, but I wanted to give you guys a sense of just how slow this movie is. We're gonna fall asleep. That's so boring. And it just makes it painfully obvious that they're trying to pad out the runtime. There are full sections of this movie that I fell asleep for, and then upon going back through it, I realized, nope, I didn't miss anything. They were really just like looking through scrapbooks at that time. There's this sort of The Conjuring-esque thing where Reese is trying to communicate with this ghost through the sewing machine, and the sewing machine communicates back by just like sewing a little bit. It's all because the wife used to love sewing up here before she died of a heart attack, and now she haunts the children. I don't know what accents are in this movie, because some of these people sound like they're just like, they have an American accent, but then certain words they'll sound British. Someone explain it to me in the comments. Accent, no me get, me no get. Domino accentio, everybody's singing Latin now. We get our first ghost sighting in the movie, which just opens up more questions for me about what's going on.
Kat, I told you to wait downstairs.
Reese, I think I caught her.
I wanted to release her.
Wait, I'm sorry, so blonde Barbara can see Little Miss Needlemouth too? She doesn't have a psychic gift. How does she know what to take a picture of? Also, you can just take a picture of a ghost now. If that's true, you should have a fully developed photo of Linda Blair up on that camera right now. Show me. It makes absolutely no sense. Also, it set up this thing that never pays off, where like Kat is more in it for the fame of their social media following than Reese, who's in it to help people. That's what they were teasing here, but then it goes right into Kat being like just as understanding and empathetic. But she also seems to be the one who manages their social media account because they're like online ghost hunters. They're famous online, we find out. After that encounter, it turns out that Reese gets really physically affected when he has these ghost encounters. Sometimes they leave him deaf.
I said if my hearing went again, I'd say.
It's not worth it if you're having side effects, Reese. What if one day your hearing doesn't come back?
Well, then you'll be about half as annoying to me. Once my eyes go, you'll just be a pair of sweater boobs pressed up against my back. It cannot be overstated how slow the pace of this movie is. You would think that these people are all on sedatives. Everyone is talking like they just ate a really salty meal because they're like, it's hard to breathe. Listen to how many times Reese sighs in this scene. Well, your lungs sound clear to me, so the antibiotics must be working. I think you keep getting lung infections because you live inside this horse stable. It becomes clear that Reese is really into this ghostiness for helping people. Because you know how it's really common for people to need help with ghosts? I've never met a single person who's like, oh yeah, I got a demon of my ex-wife living in my sewing room, so just trying to take care of that this weekend. It's not a thing, not a thing. I don't understand what these people's jobs are. Who's paying them? I guess they have a social media following, but like, what are they posting?
I understand. A gift. I see what it does for people. And so do our followers. 2,000 likes on the Carla Johnson case already.
That's still not as much engagement as when I live streamed our intercourse, but I think that's just because I have a very ghosty looking back.
There were also a few fans who wanted to do this.
If you unfocus your eyes during their love scenes, it kind of just looks like 2 fillets of fish being boiled in a pot. Is that intentional? Do you think that's a stylistic choice? There are moments in this movie where they're padding out the runtime so hard that I thought for sure they were trying to annoy me. The phone's ringing! Can you get that? So annoying to listen to that phone ring 5 times before he even wakes up. What? Get some of these ghosts to be your secretary. The Candy Witch is like, Mr. Sheffield, you got a call coming in. And it gets worse. They take a full-length minute of him walking down the stairs to answer the phone. Meanwhile, this shrill phone is ringing like endlessly the whole time. I'm not gonna show you the full 60 seconds, but this is, you know, a sped up version.
Hello.
Hi, yes, we have your dying mother here. Unfortunately, she passed away while waiting for you to answer the phone. The woman on the phone is named Ruth, and she needs Reese's help with a ghosty type problem, baby. Ghosty problems, ghosty problems.
I see her in my house. The Candy Witch.
Candy Witch, that was my nickname for that cranky lady who sold acid at raves. To be fair, she was probably really nice when I wasn't trying to steal from her. Naturally, Reese does some research on the Candy Witch, and we get some very eccentric evidence.
Papers want you to believe she's dead and gone. Don't trust them. You see her, you make sure you hide your kids. She uses candy canes, people. Candy canes!
That was fully Mr. Mint showing up to the Candyland town hall to spout conspiracy theories. It took me a couple rewatches to understand what happens next because they shoehorn in this plot device real fast. He switches from searching about the Candy Witch to searching about his dad, who apparently died during some sort of psychic event, and the internet now is like, they think he's like a crackpot, basically. It's definitely a weird choice to go into one of those computer search engine montages and then midway through switch what the person is researching without any verbal cues. He's like, we gotta find out more about this Candy Witch, and then he gets sidetracked and starts doing TurboTax on us.
What do you mean?
Well, the people who knew your father, they knew his gift. What does it matter what they say online?
He had a gift, and he...
And that gift killed him, and he wouldn't want it to do the same to you.
Oh really, are you the psychic now, Kat? Please, if anyone's gonna read my dead dad's mind, it's me, and he wants me to kill myself. Throughout the entire movie, Reese seems to be taking things so seriously and is very somber. Meanwhile, Kat is like living her best life, acting like she's in a Taylor Swift video.
An old lady. Her name's Ruth. Says the Candy Witch wants her.
The Candy Witch. Sounds fun.
A child murderer.
What time do we leave?
I'm sorry, we must be acting in like 2 separate movies because I'm in child murder horror town and you're acting like you're in a lighthearted road trip fantasy where no one says anything about your teeth. Next we move over to another nameless victim who is gonna be attacked by the Candy Witch. I don't know who any of these people getting killed are, so that makes it really hard for me to care about them. Also, we start to see that these murders are going to be basically candy themed in a very loose type of way. She said, this hair cannot get exposed to steam. Let me back up from this pot of sewage. I don't actually know what's going on here. Like, she seems to go up to this pot of really dark looking liquid and she digs out some sort of piece of fabric, but I don't know what's up with the editing because I don't know what she's really reacting to, and she just kind of screams at this pot of mysterious liquid that appears on her stupid stove. Like, also the sound effects are all over the place. You can hear like a jacuzzi bubbling, but when we see the liquid, it's not boiling at all. But the time is up for this woman who we just met. You know how when you burn yourself on the stove, your face becomes the surface of the sun? Yeah. Also, again, we have zero mystery to this witch. Like, I'm seeing her right down to her airbrush makeup in this piece. I can see the liquid latex lifting off of her skin. If they really wanted to make this even remotely scary, then I need to not see this witch's face until way towards the end of the movie. Like, they could have just kept giving us that lights out thing where she's in silhouette, where we see her with her hair covering her face. Like, because once we see that she's just a normal lady with face paint, it's no longer scary whatsoever. Fear of the unknown is really what worked for people, because let's face it, once you get down to it, a woman in face paint just looks like a woman in face paint. Reese and Kat show up to Ruth's house to start finding out about the Candy Witch.
Sure you want to do this?
Yeah, I'm sure. You?
Absolutely. You ready for your close-up?
Well, one of us has to be Kat. Our followers don't respond well to you because they say that your face looks broad and white like the top of a foot.
Welcome to the madhouse. Come on in. Who's been expecting you?
We encountered our first ghost immediately upon arrival. He was dressed like a boy. We meet this character a little later. I don't know why they decided to throw him in here. It just kind of confuses us. Like, we don't get a real proper introduction. It's just some guy with a haircut walking by. Ruth is weird. She gives me weird vibes from the very first second we meet her.
I thought you lived alone.
Oh, no. Last week, my family were away on travels, and I was on my own.
You see, they love taking vacations without me so that I can stay home and wander the fields looking for branches for my branch bowl. We go on to meet the rest of the family with varying degrees of camera readiness.
I'm Willie. Ruth's long suffering. Tom's our son. He's just in from college. This is Reese.
Nice to meet you.
Is there anyone else that lives here?
My daughter Leanne, she's up in her bedroom.
We think you'll find that she also has limp, shoulder-length hair like the rest of us. I don't know what's going on with this family. Like, the dad and son have the same hair. The dad looks like someone that teenagers would ask to buy them beer in a parking lot at a gas station. We noticed that your face kind of looks like a battle wound and you seem lonely. Would you mind buying us a 30 rack? There's 1,000% exposition throughout Ruth's introduction. She's just like talking about how these ghostly activities kept escalating. Everything was escalating.
That's when the incidents heightened. Then the occurrences became stronger. That's when it all heightened.
Yes, Mother, that's how stair machines work. God, we were just trying to improve your bone density, not freak you out about heights. Kat is exploring the house and she meets the younger daughter, Leah, who is the age somewhere between 12 and 30.
What are you doing?
Kat, nice to meet you. I came here today with
The paranormal investigator?
I love how the camera placement in the scene implies that Kat is 7 feet tall. Leah is like, "You're the paranormal investigator who's come down the beanstalk to help us with our candy witch?" I would be like, okay, I can already tell from your denim overall dress that you're homeschooled or something weird. We finally get a little bit of the origin story of the candy witch.
She was our nanny.
She did that?
I don't remember. We were kids when she did it to us. Locals call her the candy witch. She used to hand candy canes out to the little kids.
Oh God, what do they call the guy who does their taxes? The money goblin? That seems like a really weird reason. Like, if all she did was hand out candy canes, that hardly seems like enough to call her the candy witch. Or for her ghost to be killing people in all of these different candy ways. Like, suddenly she's handing out maggot chocolates, but when she was alive, all she would do was hand out candy canes. I mean, why are you handing out seasonal treats all year anyway? So that's witch behavior for sure. Also, I cringe when she showed these scars on her leg. It looks like something that I would do in my very first special effects makeup class when you're mastering this product called Third Degree, which is like a 2-part thing you mix together, and then you can sculpt scars onto people that are really flexible. You quickly paint them, and it looks like that, unless you're really careful with the spatula. You can actually see little threads and marks where the brushes were hitting it, so yeah, it's a little crunchy. The mom is downstairs giving us more insight into that kill that we just saw happen.
I suppose you saw the police tape. Boiled alive, they say, in melting chocolate.
That was chocolate? Looked more like gravy to me, but sure. What do I know? Also, what police tape? What are you talking about? Wait, do you think that I work for the police? Because I'm just a hot psychic. At this point, they're just giving us scenes because they don't know what else to do, because we get this random interaction between the dad and the son, and I'm just like, I don't have room in my brain for any more of these characters. It's over. Just kill them.
None of us have slept in weeks. If this doesn't work, you have to do something.
I will, son. We'll braid our ponytails together and raise our voices to the heavens. Also, how has he had no sleep for weeks? They just said he just got home from college, so like, why is he tired? He should not even be here most of the time. I'm actually tripping. This is crazy town. This movie is making, like, I'm getting blood deficiencies from watching this. My nutrients are out of whack. Also, the movie keeps throwing in all of these conflicts that basically never pay off and don't go anywhere. Just like every argument I've ever had with my stupid sisters. Just kidding, they're not stupid, they're just related to me. So there's like a baseline issue there.
I'm gonna take a bath. Tiffany's coming over later.
Tiffany, you check with your mother. You know she doesn't want that girl in this house.
I live here too, Dad.
That doesn't really respond properly to what I just said, but okay. Also, I'm so sorry, Tiffany, sweetie, but we don't need you in this movie. We've met so many characters already. Like, do both of the siblings need to have a spouse or a significant other that we have to see here? Like, I don't care. It's weird how this movie kind of seems to have high production value when you just look at the images. Like, they look cinematic sometimes, but then when you really kind of get into it, you're like, oh no, they just turned a camera on. Like, it's so dark, there's barely any light. You can't see anything throughout this whole movie, so it's really frustrating. So I think that they just had a nice camera and kind of ran with it. There wasn't actually a whole lot of like lighting or framing going on.
Something's definitely here. Of that, I'm sure.
I can see it as prominently as my nipples are in this shirt. The boyfriend of Leah is arguing. He's like, I can't deal with all your ghosty shit, okay?
It's college break and I need to unwind. And I need a stress-free time before I go back next semester, all right?
You were going to that party.
This is what it would sound like if you Google translated Sims to English. Like, what even is this argument? What do we even care about this for? Just leave, say goodbye to this girl, and whatever that is that she's got on, her denim sheath. For whatever reason, the boy is taking a bath and he gets frightened. Actual footage of the last maraschino cherry in the jar after I ate his whole family. The editing on this scare is so sad. First of all, he wakes up and he's in this tub full of blood, but one of my biggest pet peeves is it doesn't look like blood, it just looks like red water. It does not look gruesome, it just looks like you got into some water sports with the Kool-Aid Man. Also, the spatial reasoning is off for me here. Like, we never see that he's in a tub with the shower curtain, so when he was looking at the shower curtain the first time, I thought it was a shadow being cast on the ceiling. The whole point of, like, film is that you can show me things and I don't have to be confused about what I'm looking at. Don't you want to make it clear what is on camera? Like, no? Okay, whatever. Okay. That was the Kool-Aid Man voice. All we see is that witch slam on the curtain and go, rah! So we don't really know what happens in this scare scene, but apparently it was very traumatizing.
Tom, you're gonna be all right. What happened, Tom?
Reese, what's going on here?
Well, it looks like you both had a really strong reaction to your adult son getting out of the tub, so there's that. I'm not sure if it's like particularly chilly in this room, but do you really need to pull your coat off and put it on him like he just got out of a lifeboat? They didn't even bother to think about what, like, can't they give me an actual threat here? If he woke up and he was attacked by the Candy Witch, shouldn't he have some sort of gash on him? Shouldn't he be like physically harmed in some way that shows us what's happening? No, we just get he got scared and now they're all like, you know, in a bad movie, they always make dialogue out of breathing, and they're doing the same exact thing here. They're like, Mom, Dad, you're both scared. Okay, got it. I can't tell if you're really freaked out or if you're just trying to do that thing where kids get high by hyperventilating. The boyfriend left, and so now he's somehow lost in the woods.
Hey, Lexi. Show me the way home.
Were you brought to your girlfriend's house blindfolded in the back of a van? How are you getting lost? And why are you traversing through the woods, Mr. Hi-Ho Silver? At the beginning of this thing, we saw you walking up the driveway. Through the research, we found out that the Candy Witch's real name was Jennifer something before she went missing a few months ago, years ago. It's not clear what the timeline is. So Kat goes to visit her friend, her former friend.
What are you doing on my boat?
This movie teaches us that sometimes a jump scare can just be a really tired-looking school librarian. Also, living on a boat makes sense for this person. I can tell just from looking at that beaded necklace that she's someone who sleeps with her head really close to her toilet. The boyfriend is still wandering through the woods trying to get home. For some reason, like this, I don't know how he got lost. It's annoying.
Excuse me? Hello? Lost in the woods?
The Candy Witch is like, and what about it? Do I look like a mall directory, Bilbo Baggins? Also, I don't care what movie you're in. If you saw this creepy woman standing in front of you in the woods, you would be running. He's like, excuse me, Mrs. Blair Witch, can I borrow your cell phone? You already know what's gonna happen. Boyfriend gets it. At this point, we're seeing our evil villain in broad daylight. Like, I can even see the makeup artist's hand coming in for touch-ups. You also get a full visual in broad daylight of that plastic candy cane she's slashing people with, and all of it just instantly, like if it hadn't already, this is where it just falls apart and you're like, oh my god, who is this party performer? This is probably my favorite, like, candy-themed murder of the whole movie because it's so clumsy, and it just involves one of my favorite treats. Now, I won't argue that cotton candy is an amazing way to die, but I'm pretty sure she's getting her own hair into his mouth at some point. This whole scene just looks so messy. Like, there's cotton candy stuck to her necklace. Why is she wearing jewelry as a monster? Also, can the sequel be about where she's getting all of this fresh-ass cotton candy in the middle of the woods? The friend is explaining how Jennifer, aka the Candy Witch, came to be so miserable or something.
She had said things weren't going well at the house with the kids, that rumors were spreading, that Ruth was starting to not trust her anymore. She came here asking for help, claiming I was the only one left who could help her. She begged me not to send her back to them.
Well, you should have told her, listen, friend, I live on a houseboat. You need to find refuge somewhere else. Clearly, I'm in no position to help. My whole house floats on a river. So this is where the plot gets so confusing if it wasn't already. I'll try to explain it. So apparently, the Candy Witch was abusing those two kids from when they were really young, but they never wanted to get her in trouble, so they didn't tell. Then, more when the kids are older, the Candy Witch is being accused of touching this older boy. I don't know how this friend was expected to protect the Candy Witch from a whole town of people accusing her. Like, what are you gonna do, just hide out on my houseboat forever? So it's a really weak plot point for me that she's like, she came to me for help and I turned her away. It's like, you couldn't have done much. What are you gonna do, unmolest that boy? Good luck. Here we get the boy telling his truth.
Your parents are looking into the pipework.
Useless. She did things to me when I was younger, at 15, 16. You know, at that age, you're growing and learning, and the worst part is I felt special.
Reese is like, ooh, I know your parents hired me to help, but I'm less of a psychologist and more like a plumber, but for ghosts. When Kat gets back from visiting that houseboat woman, she's like kind of under the watchful eye.
We would really appreciate you just sticking to your job instead of listening to the crazy rants of some woman who's half lost her mind.
Me to the security guard at Whole Foods when I'm accused of stealing cheese slices. I feel like they just need to make all of these plot beats more clear and less confusing. Like, make it clear that the Candy Witch is the nickname they gave to a woman who was accused of abusing the local children. And give me a better reason for that nickname than just the handing out candy canes. Maybe she used candy to lure kids into her home so that she could abuse them. So she was the Candy Witch, like a Hansel and Gretel type thing where she would lure kids with sweets. Or at least that's the mean story that's going around about her with the townspeople. And since this movie loves social media so much, you know, we've got our social media star, Ghost Hunter, maybe we can bring in that technological element a little bit by making it like, oh, all of the townspeople, all of the moms in the towns were afraid of this Candy Witch and the rumors about her, so they set up a mean website calling her the Candy Witch. They set up a Facebook page where they bullied her until she went missing. That would kind of also help me understand the timeline of all of this, because it's like they're saying that woman was accused of touching our kids when they were little, but now the kids are old, but she only went missing recently. So why was she working for you for all of those years where you saw these kids with bruises on them and cuts on them, but they didn't tell you where they were from? Like, how did it take you so many years to notice that? Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. But we don't have time, because we gotta keep killing these kittens, chopping. We go back to What's Her House on the houseboat. She's baking cookies in her tiny kitchen. Is that the European way of using a rolling pin? Europe, do you guys not believe in handles? There's handles right there. Okay, that's boat life, I guess. What do I know? I feel like if you own a boat, you can call anything boat life. They're like, you need to pay child support. That's boat life. Apparently the Candy Witch is really just like the sweets witch, because she does murders that are not anything to do with candy. This is like baking related. Ooh, is that like a new type of cool sculpting? Can she do my obliques next? Kat does a seance at the house to try to contact the Candy Witch. Like, now we're just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. This movie is clearly stealing ideas from The Conjuring, Nightmare on Elm Street with the accused child molester. It's everything. It's everything you could ever not want to watch.
Everybody close your eyes and lower your heads. Start to take a deep breath in through your nose and slowly out through your mouth. Keeping calm. Out through your mouth.
Keeping calm out through my mouth? What are you even talking? Now I know you're just making this up as you go, Kat. They sat this family down and said, we don't know what's going on in this scene, but we know we need it to be 5 minutes long. So we're gonna start with you reading us through a guided meditation. Like, this is a 90-minute movie and we have full on time to wax on, wax off, like with Mr. Miyagi here. I can't. They see the Candy Witch during the seance and Reese gets his hand cut. It doesn't mean anything. It's pointless. It's drivel. It's all drivel. Drivel, I tell you. Drivel. 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 This is where my brain short circuits and I die. This scene kind of reminds me of the Poltergeist where the guy's face is melting in the mirror. So again, very derivative. That was me, before I found Viactive calcium chews. Later on, the boy is having love making. That's not how you say it. He's doing that with his girlfriend. But it's bad times, scary times, bad times.
This is what you wanted, isn't it?
All right, which one of you sickos put it out into the universe that you wanted a movie where you saw someone La Llorona? Because this is not cool. This woman's got kids. The woman carves the word liar into his back, so intrigue, mystery is being revealed. The girlfriend of that boy, she's like up and out running out of the house, and this pisses me off because it's like just a repeat of what the boyfriend did with the daughter. They're standing in the same position on the stairs, and she's like, look, I want to support you, but I can't deal with the fact that you've got ghosts cutting up your penis and stuff. So she leaves. We just briefly see that the girlfriend then gets attacked by the candy witch in the car. Meanwhile, Leah, Kat, and Reese are all in the shed looking through old notebooks and old evidence because Reese somehow realized that's what he needed to do. I don't know where Reese is getting his information through all of this movie. Are you reading the script? Are you reading ahead? He makes a discovery when he sees some photo in a scrapbook, so he runs back into the house and turns on his live stream right as the mother comes in. Back in the shed, Kat and what's her name, the stupid girl, they are realizing what Reese just saw.
Matches the marks on my legs.
Your mom has a walking stick, and they owned it before Jennifer began working here.
Oh, reveal. So Reese basically saw the picture of the mom with the walking stick and then put it together that these kids were getting wounded by the nanny well before the nanny started working there. So it was the mom hitting them with the walking stick. If the walking stick so perfectly matched your leg wounds, why are you just now realizing it? Your mom has been using a cane her whole life. This discovery doesn't even really make sense. It could have been so much more clear. Like if you wanted it to be that the timeline didn't work out, it should have been like, oh yeah, just months after the nanny started working here, I noticed these scars and wounds all over the kid. So we took them to the hospital and we fired the nanny right away, and that's when she disappeared. If they had made the candy witch go missing like a lot further back in time, then it would have made it feel a lot more mysterious and scary because you're like, oh, this secret from the past is coming back to haunt us. And then if they wanted to bring up this like reveal that the mom was the one hurting them, then they could realize, oh, here's the hospital report or whatever, and it says that these wounds were actually old and they would have been given to me from before my nanny started working there. You know, I'm just grasping at straws, but they could have still made it work in a way that made sense if they just focused on the story for a little bit and not trying to put in these candy-colored scares every 20 minutes. Reese confronts the mother for her abuse and she starts monologuing like a James Bond villain.
You abuse those children.
When I was a little girl, my mother did far worse.
If that's true, then you better drop those granny panties and show me some scar tissue, mama, because your daughter's legs were torn up. Torn up, ma'am. If your mom did worse to you, she must have put your vagina in a garbage disposal. The two girls go into the basement and they find the dad with all the letters, so it turns out he knows about all of this too. And he points out that it wasn't the nanny who was touching the teenage son. The teenage son had a big thing for the nanny, because apparently he likes women wearing lingerie by Hanes Herway.
He was obsessed with her. How long?
Years. All the letters he wrote, she kept. But after she rejected him, he made the accusations.
She looks like if Wednesday Addams were like a more realistic depiction of depression. Medication management?
To make sure that the town hated her. No one would miss her.
That's why she's here, because she has a grudge so deep to the core.
Oh, thank you, Reese. Yeah, let's add The Grudge to the list of movies that this one stole from. So now that we know the brother is actually the bad guy because he's been spying on the nanny, he gets what he deserves by being attacked by the candy witch outside. She seems to use the candy cane to castrate this young man, so now we're really just wilding out in this movie. Like, this is crazy town. Now you're just doing whatever. I see you over there. Candy canes aren't knives. Since when are candy canes knives? Reese keeps getting magic information from the ether.
We need to find her bones. She can't move on because they've kept them here.
Wait, your Kill Bill headache told you that? So now they know they need to go find the bones, I guess. It's all about the bones. Gonna take it out to the boneyard. word. What does that mean? The mom discovers her dead son and the candy witch gets her next. Because remember, now we know all the parents and the son are the bad guys. Because the mom was the abuser, the son was obsessed with the nanny and was like stalking her. The mom murdered the nanny and tried to blame it on the son's abuse, even though she really just did it to hide her own abuse. And the dad was trying to help cover it all up. Is that clear? Because it took me until just now to figure it all out. Brenda, if you're going to sew candy into my chest cavity, it needs to be name brand candy, okay? I need sour Skittles, fun size Three Musketeers, maybe some Airheads. I want corn syrup melting into my whole pancreas. Do not give me this individually wrapped, multicolored candy that you buy in bulk at the grocery store. It's insulting. It's insulting to my internal organs, candy witch. You call yourself a candy witch? Outside, the protagonists are burning the bones, and that stops the candy witch just in time as she's like killing the dad. She's already gouged his eye out. Actual footage of me at my first hip-hop dance class. They said, "We love how you're laying on the floor with like a lot of soul." Things are really wrapping up here now that the candy witch has been killed. By the way, this climax was a nothing burger to me. Like, it was so unexciting to watch. The candy witch is in the middle of killing the dad, who I already don't like. We know him to have been covering up the murder of the candy witch. So it's not really suspenseful that they're burning the bones right in time to save him. And it's also really annoying that they're completely separate from the candy witch. They're outside, they're not seeing the candy witch, they're just burning something in a fire pit. They never see that she's actually dead. That's all completely separate. Why wouldn't they have the bone destruction happening in the same area that this final kill is happening? Just kill the dad, have the candy witch be murdering the daughter because she's the only redeemable character in this family. That way it's like, oh, the candy witch is just getting revenge on everybody. But as soon as they find the bones and they somehow find proof, like maybe they can surface this proof that the candy witch is innocent and that's what makes her go away. Instead, they just kind of allow her to continue to be evil until this black force comes out of her mouth, and is never explained where that even comes from. So anyway, I would change this movie by burning it to the ground, taking all of the cameras that were used to shoot it and smashing them with a hammer. That's how far back we need to go.
Did you call the police?
Wow, we really helped this family by maiming and killing most of them. Woo! Okay, I don't know why I tried to start talking while I was drinking water. And that's the candy witch. What did you guys think? Was this plot as incoherent and rambling to you as it was to me? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know what other movies we should cover this November. I think I'm going back and forth between holiday and not holiday. Give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more clip breakdowns just like this. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right down there. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on those notifications and you'll always be the first to know when I have a new candy cane coming out and I'm gonna cookie cutter your skin to death. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you for eating candy witches with me today. I will see you next time.